Hi, I'm Tim Moore from Bikes and More, and as part of our series on bikes and bike repair, today we're going to be talking about how to repair a flat tire. So I have a bike here with a flat tire, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. First of all, remove the wheel, and I'm assuming that you're on a stretch of road or maybe on the trail when you have a flat tire, so it's always a good idea to find a good safe spot either off the trail or off the edge of the road, so that you know you've got a safe spot that you can change your tire and not be in the way of other riders or possibly expose yourself to traffic. So you got your wheel removed. If there's any air still left in your tire, go ahead and let the rest of the air out. After you've done that, you take out your tire levers. Hopefully you've got what you need to fix a flat tire, which is going to be tire levers, either a patch kit or a spare tube, and some means of inflation, either CO2, a mini pump, or some type of inflation. So you want to take your first tire lever, start 180 degrees across from the valve, and simply put the edge of the tire lever under the rim and pry the edge of the tire up over the rim. Now you notice that I'm using plastic tire levers. That's what we recommend because they won't scratch the rims. Particularly if you have a carbon wheel like this one, it's very important that you never use a metal tire lever on a carbon rim. So plastic is always a safe way to go. So you've got your first tire lever in at 180 degrees across from the valve. I'm going to go down about 4 or 5 inches from that one and put in another lever. And you heard that little pop there. That's an indication that the bead of the tire is coming up off the rim. So we're going to go in one more time and do that again. Usually after you've gotten about 8 or 10 inches of the tire over the valve, or over the rim that is, then you can just take one of your tire levers and simply zip it around the edge of the tire like that. Get one side of the tire completely off the rim like that. So now we've got one side completely off, the other one is still on. We're going to go back to that side, and it's pretty easy at this point. You can just take the tire and the tube and just pull it off the rim like so. So we're going to take the tire and the tube completely off the wheel. I'm going to set the wheel aside for now. This is a very important step, one that a lot of people forget about. We'll take that old tube out. Now you want to take your hands and very carefully run them along the inside of the tire and see if you can feel or feel the obstruction that got into the tire and gave you the flat. Because if you don't get that out, when you put your new tube in, you're probably going to get another flat. So very carefully run your hands along the inside of the tire and feel for whatever that may be. Sometimes it's so small you can't feel it. Sometimes it doesn't always stay there. But again, you notice I'm going to go around a couple times here and just double check. It seems like there's not anything in my tire, so it must have been a really, really small one. So I'm going to set that aside for a second. Take your new inner tube and give it enough air so that it's got just a little bit of shape. We use our air compressor here to speed things up. All it's got to have is just a little shape. If you try to put the tire or put the tube back into the tire with no air in it at all, you'll really have to fight it. So I'm going to start at the valve and just stuff the tube back into the tire. Like that. So now our tube is back inside the tire. We've got just one unit here to put back on the wheel rather than trying to do it separately. So we're going to start by putting the valve in first. That valve back in there, and then slowly start to work one side of the tire back onto the rim. And you just want to do one side at a time, so it's going to look like that. So we have one side of the tire completely on the rim, as you can see. The other side we haven't even started yet. Then we're going to go back and repeat that procedure on the other side. And you notice that I'm using my hands and not those tire tools. It's very important that you just work it back on with your hand, because even with a good tool, it's a lot more likely that you're going to pinch the inner tube if you try to jam that up in there. Okay, we're going to pull out that little piece of wire there that I just felt. Okay, What we have left here now is this last little section is usually the toughest part. And this is where it's very tempting to take that tire tool and jam it up in there and pry it. Just be patient with it. Just slowly work it up to get to that last little section. And pop right up over the top. And now your tire's back on. So what you want to do is give it just a little bit of air. Again, I'm going to use our compressor here to save a little time. Just enough air to give it some shape. I'm going to spin it one time, make sure that that tire is properly seated.
LED lights that blink. You have them here?
Yeah. And you can probably see from there we do have a spot that the tire looks like it hasn't popped up all the way on the rim. Usually you can just take those and just kind of massage it back up into place. But what you want to see when you're all done is a tire that's nice and round. If you have if you can see that or not, you have just a little bit of a high spot in the tire right there around the valve. That's usually an indication that the tire is not properly seated. What you need to do in that case is let the air back out. Simply take the valve and push it up into the wheel like so. Pull it back down, and now you can see that high spot's gone. Let me go back to clear it up again.
I'm going to recommend that one. If you want to save $1, you could do that one.
I'll check the seating one more time. Alright, that looks good, so we're going to go ahead and finish off the inflation.
Now we got this one here too.
If you use a CO2 cartridge, it'll usually take it up to about 90 or 100 psi on a road bike, about 40 pounds on a mountain bike, which will certainly is enough to get you back home. So finish airing it up. Put your wheel back on. Set your quick release. Close your brake. And off you go.